In this lesson, we're going to make and analyze line graphs. The essential question is, how can you use a line graph to display and analyze data? A line graph is a graph that uses line segments to show how data changes over time. And that's very important to remember. A line graph measures changes over time. Now, we're going to look down here at the problem. Graph the data. Use the graph to determine the times between which the greatest temperature change occurred. We can see that this table shows us the recorded temperature in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It tells us the time in the morning, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, and then it tells us the temperature at each time. Well, let's look at how to take this data in a table and turn it into a line graph. Step 1 says, write related pairs of data as ordered pairs. So 1 minute is going to be written along with 1 o'clock is going to be written along with 51 degrees. So 1 o'clock, 51 degrees. The next ordered pair is going to be 2 o'clock, 49 degrees. Then we're going to have 3 o'clock, 47 degrees. 4 o'clock, 46 degrees. At 5 o'clock, it was 45 degrees. At 6 o'clock, it was 44 degrees. At 7 o'clock, it was 46 degrees. At 8 o'clock, it's 48 degrees. And at 9 o'clock, it was 51 degrees. So now we've written ordered pairs using the data from our chart. Now we're going to move to step 2. For the vertical axis, choose a scale and an increment that are appropriate for the data. Now the vertical axis is the axis that goes up and down. We can see here that since there are no temperatures between 0 degrees Fahrenheit and 44 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to show a break in the scale. And that's shown here by this little zigzag. And then we're going to go up by increments of 2 after we have that break. This lets us see the data more spread out. Now let's look at step 3. For the horizontal axis, and that's this axis right here that goes long ways, we're going to write the times. And we can see it here. For each line, there's a time. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and so on. Write a title for the graph and each of its axes. If you look here, the title is Philadelphia's recorded temperature. That title came directly from the title here of this chart. The labels for the axes tells us what the number represents. So these numbers, 40, 42, 44, and so on, are the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. These numbers, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's the time, AM. Then we're going to complete the graph by graphing the ordered pairs. Connect the points with straight line segments. You can see the first few have been done for us. We have 1 o'clock, 51 degrees. So I'm going to go over to 1 o'clock and up to 51 degrees. And that point is right there. 2 o'clock, 49 degrees. So I go over to 2 o'clock, up to 49 degrees. Now let's look at 3 o'clock, 47 degrees. Over to 3 o'clock, up to 47 degrees. Now let's look at 4 o'clock, 46 degrees. So 4 o'clock, 46 degrees. And you can see between each point they're connected with a straight line. So we've done all of these. 5 o'clock, 45 degrees. You can see it marked right there. 6 o'clock, 44 degrees. That one's done. Now let's go to 7 o'clock, 46 degrees. Here we are at 7 o'clock. We have to go up to 46 degrees. It looks like this point right here shows the intersection between the 7 o'clock line and the 46 degree line. So that one's graphed. Now we're going to connect that with a straight line. And then we're going to go to 8 o'clock, 48 degrees. So 8 o'clock, 48 degrees. Which, looks like it's going to be right here. And then the last one is 7 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, my writing's bad there, 9 o'clock, 51 degrees. So we're going to go to 9 o'clock and go all the way up to 51 degrees, which is right here. We're going to draw that line. Well, we can look at the different line segments, and we're going to look at each line segment in the graph, and we're going to find the segment that shows the greatest change in temperature between two consecutive points. Now, if you look at each one of these segments, it's changing, but it looks like the temperature between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock is going up the most. That's the steepest line segment. That one changes the most, so I'm going to say that between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock was the greatest change in temperature. All right, let's look at one more. Let's try this. Jill used a rain gauge to collect data on the total rainfall during 6 days at her home in Miami. She read the amount of rain collected in the rain gauge each day and did not pour it out. Her data is shown in the table. Make a line graph to display Jill's data. Now remember, step 1 is to write related pairs of data as ordered pairs. So we're going to write Monday, 2, because on Monday the rainfall was 2 inches. On Tuesday, the rainfall was 2 inches, so we're going to write Tuesday, 2. On Wednesday, the rainfall was 3 inches, so we're going to write Wednesday, 3. On Thursday, the rainfall was 6 inches, so we're going to write Thursday, 6. On Friday, it was 8. And on Saturday, it was 9. Now we're going to choose a scale and an increment for the data. Well, let's go ahead and draw an X and Y axis here. And I'm going to draw as straight as I can. There's my Y axis, or my vertical axis. Here's my horizontal axis, or my X axis. Now my numbers go from 2 all the way up to 9. So I think I can start here at 0 and make each line count up by 1. So this line represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now that I've got a scale and increment for the data, I need to write a label for this axis, and that's the rainfall in inches. So I'm going to label that here. Then I need to label the horizontal and vertical axis. So I've already labeled the vertical axis. Let's go with the horizontal now. It looks like my horizontal axis is just going to have the days of the week, Monday through Saturday. So here I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I need to label that axis as well by writing day of the week. All right, now I need to write a title for the graph. Well, the title here in the data table is rainfall collected. So I'm going to use that same title for my graph. Now I'm going to graph the ordered pairs and connect the points with line segments. So Monday is 2, so I'm going to go over to Monday and up to 2. Tuesday is also 2, so I'm going to go over to Tuesday and up to 2. It looks like there wasn't any rainfall that day. Wednesday is 3, so I'm going to go over to Wednesday and up to 3 and show the line graph there. Thursday is 6, so I'm going to go over to Thursday and go all the way up to 6. That's a pretty steep line right there. Friday is 8, so I'm going to go from Friday all the way up to 8. And then the last one is Saturday, which is 9. So I'm going to come here from Saturday and mark 9. So you can see how the rainfall changed each day. Now we're going to use the graph to identify the day on which Jill recorded the greatest total rainfall. The day with the greatest total rainfall is going to be the day that has the highest point, and that's going to be Saturday, because the greatest total rainfall was 9 inches, and that was on Saturday. Now, Part B says, use the graph to identify the day on which Jill recorded the greatest increase in rain collected. We're going to look at the lines and see where we see the greatest increase or the greatest slope. And it looks like here that it was from Wednesday to Thursday. So it looks like that Thursday is the day that shows the greatest increase. Now it's your turn to make and analyze line graphs.